Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative. Today, just got back home. I bike everywhere. I was getting food on the way home today, and for the first time in a long time, I was completely wrong in a situation where I just wasn't thinking. And this kind of shocked me because it's weird to describe myself like this, but I am unapologetically right when something is correct. Something that I do is correct. I'm unapologetic, I'm aggressive about it, and there are cases, of course, where maybe there are two different sides, but facts will always be facts. I go, like many people do, over a number of scenarios in my head, just prepare myself just to make sure if something happens that is kind of odd, that I am ready to go, that I have things to back, the personality to back, because I think that's a major part of things too. It's the way that you say things. But for me, it's just when something goes wrong, when something is done wrong by somebody else, I'm unapologetically, and again, aggressively standing my ground when I know that I'm correct. And a lot of the times, this is very just case to me, I will go over what had happened before, and I'll make sure that was I actually right at that time, and if I was not right, then it's a terrible burden. It's something that I'm like, I cannot believe that I was that wrong. And that's happened. It's happened a few times, but mostly when I'm right, I know I'm right, I back it up, and it's usually just, it becomes maybe a confrontation because of the way I go over things. So this was a pretty small one, but it was something that just really caught my attention where I was just completely wrong. I was going into Italy around the Flatiron District. I have my bike. I don't know if you can see that behind me. It's over here. I have the U-lock, and I put it on what I thought was on the other side of a pole where there is a bike already. Because that's what I always do. I make sure that I go on the other side of the pole, because if you put your bike and chain your bike over something else, then you can't move your bike. If you chain your bike to another bike through a pole, you definitely can't move it. And as I was coming out, I saw the other bike was still there, my bike was still there, what I thought was on the other side of the pole. And then this guy starts yelling at me. It's like, hey, why are you parking your bike there? And I'm like, dude, just be quiet. You're like, don't aggressively come at me. Don't talk to me in this way. Because in my mind, I was already thinking the scenarios. And one of the first scenarios in my head was, did I lock over this guy's bike? But then I remembered what I did, and I was like, I did not lock through the bike. I locked just around the pole. I made sure that the person's bike was not on there. But this is a case where literally pole is here, their bike was here where I thought it was on the other side, and my bike was here and chained around it. The guy could not move, and I was completely in the wrong. It was something that I did, and I felt, after I made that realization that I had done it, I felt really, really bad. But then this goes to the next point where I get it. I made a mistake. No one's gonna beat themselves up over something more than me. So in my head, my own punishment is worse than any kind of yelling, and there doesn't need to be anything else, because again, when I do something wrong, it really does weigh heavy on me. So he was just continuing on, hey, what are you doing? Just like, don't do that. And it kind of like, it struck me. It's the way that I would speak to a person knowing that I'm in the right, and just I would be able to aggressively and freely let my anger out because I knew that I was in the right. But I've never really ran into a person kind of like myself where I was like literally just looking back at him saying, yeah, I made the mistake, I am completely wrong, drop it. And this is somebody who is a much more aggressive person than I am. I kind of know, and earlier in the day had some other thing where there was just like this crazy person with broken glass, and he was slashing the air and scaring people around, and it was just kind of crazy, classic New York stuff. But it was just such a moment where I was like, I knew that I had made a mistake. I did not calculate for that, and I was talking to a person that was more aggressive than me. I made the mistake. I immediately undid my bike, tried to get out of there as soon as possible, just moving the bike out of the way, not leaving the area, because there's no reason for me to leave the area. But you could tell the guy was still upset, visibly upset. His friend on another bike comes over, and these are delivery guys, so they're not just like on regular fixed gear bikes. These are people that have jobs to do, they have something to do and a place to be, and I was restricting them from doing that. But then the guy just, continually looks over at me, and I'm like, all right, buddy, just enough. We are done here. I was associated with your friend, not with you. We are done. Don't even look in my direction. You have nothing to do with this. Because I could tell they were speaking to one another. But this is one of the cases where I really think that this may be a turning point for me. If you find out that you are right, that is kind of like a gift, enough of a gift to kind of leave it at that. In the past, when I found that I am right about something, I use that as kind of like a pass, where at that point I can do anything, I can say anything, and I can even become aggressive in that sense. It's just, maybe this, and I think, I'm not saying maybe because I'm literally processing this. This is why I'm doing these one takes, just because I literally got home. I want to talk about that. I want to feel about this. I want to get this off my chest. Maybe, and again, I don't know why I'm saying maybe, just be right. Don't punish another person because I feel right. And I'm talking to myself here. Just because it doesn't do any good. It just can lead to more aggression on both parties, myself and the other person, needless, and it's not like somebody died. Now, there are cases where it is just, maybe it's an issue compacted over and over and over, then it becomes something where aggression, I think, is called for. But if it's somebody who just makes a mistake in the same case that I did, I'm looking back at myself and seeing that I should not be on as hard as I have been on people who are in the same situation, who do the same things, because there are times, stupidly, that I just forget that I can make mistakes too. And that maybe that sounds extremely arrogant, maybe that sounds just like I'm not thinking as a proper person should, but yeah, sometimes I just forget that, because again, I try to go through all the scenarios that I possibly can, and I try to make sure that I am just correct. And again, I use that as a pass, but I should not. That's not going to help anybody. Should definitely not be doing that. And looking to change the way that I interact with other people, because we're all just, now I don't agree about being nice to everybody. You should be personable to other people. Treat people the same way that you want to be treated. In my case, it's to hold myself to a standard and hold everybody else to a standard. So I don't believe in all this, you should be nice because everybody's having a good or bad day. I don't believe in any of that. I feel that you should be the same to every single person that you meet. Treat everybody equally, in the right, in the wrong, and just kind of move from there. So you've most likely seen like maybe a turning point, maybe, I hope it does. I hope I don't have to go through more cases like this to actually learn this, but it's time that I change the way that I deal with people, just because it's just the way that I've been doing it in a lot of situations. In many of these situations, it just works out perfectly in my case, but there's no need to kind of punish somebody more from a simple little mistake. And maybe if you feel something in the same way that I've been doing, that I've been kind of talking about myself, if you act in the same way, put it in the comment section below. Like, use that as kind of like a little message board, as all my videos are, just to kind of make sure that, there's somebody else that you can talk to. I'll say something, somebody else will say something too, but this is just about canceling the aggression, even if you know you're right. If you know you're right, it's not like a free pass to be a jerk. So just take it from me. Just trying to allow myself to chill and just be a more productive person in these situations. But honestly, I do get pretty aggressive pretty quickly, so I don't know what's going to happen to all this like pent up aggression from that. I'll have to use a way just to kind of like just move away from that. But that's going to be another issue that's down the road. Guys, if you have any comments or questions, put in the comment section below. Don't forget I'm on Instagram at m8b9. You can email me at matt8b9@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.